Hey everybody, we're here today with Justin. And Justin is a young man who graduated from Geneseo who actually had the coronavirus, or has the coronavirus rather. Um, well, Justin, I'll let you talk about it. Justin, are you okay?
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you. You are okay? Are you doing all okay?
I'm doing okay. I'm holding up. At this point, I'm mostly recovered. Most of my nasty symptoms were about 2 weeks ago now. I became symptomatic on March 15th. I will correct you real quick. I actually haven't quite graduated from SUNY Geneseo yet. I got to pass a few more classes this semester, a few more weeks left, but then I will graduate.
What's your major, man?
I'm an English lit major. I've been studying English in my undergrad years.
What's your all-time favorite book? Sorry to put you on the spot.
Oh, that's tough, dude. I'll go with my favorite recent book. As a child, I really liked a series called Aragon. It was a fantasy novel.
The Dragon.
Yeah. That was my favorite throughout most of my young life. My recent favorite is a book called There, There by an author named Tommy Orge out of California.
Don't know it.
He's an up-and-coming indigenous author, but he's got some great stuff.
Why should people read fiction?
To take a break from the realities of life and enjoy other people's perspectives on good.
Fiction helps me understand life better because fiction is an analysis of reality, right?
Yeah.
A lot of it is anyway. I don't know. For a long time I just didn't read any fiction. I just only read historical biographies and fact-based analysis, and one day I read, out of all things, I started reading Stephen King.
Okay.
And I thought, I always looked down on Stephen King until I actually read Stephen King. And I was like, this is fantastic. And it opened up a whole door for me to read more and more fiction again, to return to my youth when I read a ton of fiction.
Right.
And I'm really grateful. I think it's really it's added a lot to my life. I wish I'd never stopped reading fiction. Yeah. Anyway, so, young man, Justin.
Yep.
Where do you live right now?
I live in the town of Geneseo. I live kind of a bit removed from the village. I live with my girlfriend, kind of in an apartment complex.
Tell people who don't know what the best thing about Geneseo is. I love Geneseo. I don't know how you feel. The village of Geneseo is beautiful. Tell people.
The thing about Geneseo, in my experience, in my 4 years I've lived here, is the sunsets over the valley. Been one of the fine points for me, just hanging out with my friends, watching the sunset, talking about our week.
Where are you from originally?
I grew up in Fairport, New York for most of my life. My dad's jobs moved around a lot when I was younger, so I've actually lived in 5 states, but I went through the majority of my schooling in Fairport, New York.
So not too far away. So let me ask you, do you know, there's some famous, I think the lead singer, David Knopfler of Dire Straits.
Okay.
He spends half his time, or something like that, in Geneseo. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Are you a Dire Straits fan?
Can't say I am. I respect them. I'm just not too familiar with their music.
All right, I'm gonna give you. Can I give you some homework? I don't want to sound like an old man, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Listen to Romeo and Juliet by the Dire Straits after this is over tonight. It'll instantly make you Assault in the Swing. All that stuff's good, but Romeo and Juliet's one of the best rock songs ever written. And English lit major, you'll enjoy it. It's great.
Yeah, sounds good.
So listen, so you got COVID. How the heck, or what should I say, Corona or COVID? What should I say?
Coronavirus or COVID, either is fine.
So you got COVID. I'm gonna say COVID because I think there's many types of Corona, so I'm gonna call it COVID.
Yeah.
How did you get it? Do you know? Any clue?
I don't know how exactly to trace where I got it from, just based on the lack of testing in New York and throughout the country. I don't know who had it and who I came into contact with that had it. I will say I'm not going to name the establishment, but I am a bartender locally, and there's a good chance I may have come into contact with somebody who was sick while I was serving them or after they handed money from a transaction. I know a few weeks ago, a lot of the Geneseo students are from Nassau County, Westchester County. A few weeks ago, I had a conversation with some boys that had come up to Geneseo from New Rochelle to visit their friends. And I said, New Rochelle, isn't that like the epicenter of the virus in New York State right now? They're like, yeah, we wanted to see our friends though. Come party. So, maybe.
Yeah. You probably got it working then? Do you like being a bartender?
I love it. Keeps me moving.
And it's good money, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good money. You get to have some great conversations with great people. Get to know people, know what they're going through. You learn a lot about the town when you're doing that kind of work too. What's going on behind the scenes.
How are you making money now?
I'm not. I'm actually unemployed now.
Tough.
Yeah, 2 months ago I had 2 jobs. Now I have none.
Well, let me ask you this. So everyone's in that position, including myself. It's a scary time. That's why we need good leadership to help us through it. I'm afraid what's going to happen 6 months from now. But anyway, so look, you got COVID, and how did you know you were sick?
So it all started, I think 3 Sundays ago now, March 15th. I woke up feeling a bit off. I couldn't really pinpoint what the symptom was. By the middle of the day, I had pretty intense chills, and I was getting kind of shaky. And by around like 10 p.m. that night, the first day of onset for my symptoms, I was actually running a fever at around 10 o'clock that night. So I thought, that's weird. Maybe it's just a stomach bug or something. Maybe it'll pass. So I said, Monday morning, I'm going to evaluate my symptoms and figure it out from there. Wake up Monday morning, and I felt even worse. So at that point, I started making calls to the Department of Health just to figure out, hey, should I try to make it into my doctor to get tested? So they put me on hold for a good hour and a half, and then I finally got to talk to them, and they said that they're going to refer me to a specialist who would call me soon. 24 hours passed, and I never got that call, and I was getting more and more sick. Over the first few days of my sickness, I developed pretty extreme joint and muscle aches. I was pretty much laying down stationary for most of the day because it was too painful to walk around and get up if I didn't have to. I don't really know exactly how to explain the type of aches. I will say I've had flu before. I've had pneumonia, mono. I've had all types of sicknesses over the years. But nothing's been quite as draining and painful as the COVID. So eventually on that Tuesday, after I never heard back from the health department, I went to the student health center. Well, I called the student health center at Geneseo. They instructed me to come in, put on the PPE in the little entryway, and then I received the nasal test for coronavirus. And they said that they would contact me as soon as they had the results. And then the Livingston County Department of Health, at that point I started working with them, and they basically collected my symptoms every day. And unfortunately, I didn't get my results for 10 days.
So wait a second, time out. So for 10 days, you didn't know what it was. You just felt sick.
No, actually, it was 12 days after my symptoms started, but 10 days after I got tested.
So did you know it was, did you kind of feel this is not a normal sickness?
Yeah, definitely.
Because you hurt so much, your joints hurt.
It was extremely painful. Like I mentioned, I'll just repeat it for the people listening. I felt very, very painful. I didn't want to get up if I didn't have to. I was just laying down in bed for most of the day.
Did you sleep all day?
I couldn't even sleep half the time just because I didn't feel well.
Did you have a sore throat?
I did have a sore throat. Yep.
Did you have shortness of breath?
Yeah, even that's the one. Most of my symptoms have cleared up at this point, but that's one symptom that's still been lingering for me a bit. If I'm up and walking around for more than a minute or two, then I find myself kind of like pulling for a deeper breath, but I can't necessarily get one right away.
Yeah, let me say that to you. Like I was in Asia for a long time, and during one of the corona-like epidemics they had there, I caught it.
Okay.
And I was at work, and I thought I was just really getting sick. But I was working for a law firm, which is, for those lawyers that are listening, is a very difficult existence. And I felt I had to get the work done. And I remember I was sweating at my computer, typing. And I went downstairs to a clinic, and they said, you cannot continue to work. And I remember I went home. I tried to go home. But I woke up all I remember is I woke up a few days later, and my whole body was sore. Like I could, like the pain was so deep, and I obviously I haven't had COVID, but that was the closest. It was a Corona, it was a strain of Corona that I got. This was 10 years ago, or maybe more. I was in such pain, physical pain, that I never felt that type of muscle ache before. Is that what it was like for you?
It was a very unique feeling, certainly. I'm also a rugby player. I've played rugby for 8 years now. I know what it's like to have a sore back or a sore neck after a long weekend of playing rugby. And these aches were unlike aches I've had before. It was to the core of your bones. You
and
would
on
feel.
top of that, you couldn't catch your breath.
Yeah, I couldn't really catch my breath too well amongst plenty of other symptoms. A lot of reports that have come out have described how the cough is a very dry or unproductive cough. And I can certainly say that my cough was very unproductive.
You're not coughing out phlegm or clear
No.
throat. It's just like a painful cough.
Yeah, it's a forced cough that you can't really stop, but nothing's getting coughed up and it's not becoming resolved. And it's pretty miserable.
Listen, I'm not trying to scare people with this. I want people to understand this is real. Let's say the survival rate is relatively high, but it's not a fun thing to go through, right?
No, and that's the thing too. I'm in relatively good health. I exercise, I eat right.
Right.
And I'm a non-smoker, and it still impacted me as severely as it did. And I had a relatively minor case. I didn't have to be hospitalized, but a lot of people, even my age, are getting sick enough to the point where they have to get the ventilator or have to go get emergency care at the hospital.
So the 10-day point they say is it sometimes comes back. Are you worried?
At this point, I'm like 25 days out. I don't know if I'm going to get a too severe bounce back at this point. I can say around 10-ish days after my first symptoms developed, I did start to get sick again. So it did bounce back for me.
It's like the Corona trick. I mean, it goes away and then it hits you again, and sometimes worse after the 10th day.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you're better. What did they do to treat it other than just tell you to take it easy? Because there is no cure. So what was the treatment they gave you?
There were no like prescription medications. Basically, I've been very, very, very hydrated, drinking water, eating right. Taking acetaminophen has helped with dealing with my fevers when I've had fevers. They've been intermittent throughout it. No like consistent 4 or 5 day stretches of them. They kind of just come and go. But acetaminophen helped out with that. And then just relaxing, not moving too much, because when you're walking around or trying to go up or down stairs, that's when you start to lose your breath. And I've been, fortunately or unfortunately, I've been kind of locked inside of a 1-bedroom apartment for a while, so I haven't had to worry about traveling any distance. But
so on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rank it as? I hate to go there, but I'm going to.
So one thing I've been telling people about a lot when I've been trying to convince people my age to go home and stay inside. Last summer, I had mono and pneumonia simultaneously, and I was sick for a 2-month span, and coronavirus was probably 10 times as bad as that for me.
Worse than mono.
It was worse than mono, absolutely. The case that I had.
It wasn't mild. I mean, that's serious. I mean, I had mono, and it was horrible.
Yeah, it was nasty. The reason I refer to my corona case as mild is because I was able to beat it without having to go to the hospital or required like the immediate like physician supervision. But it is nasty. It is very nasty.
So your advice to everybody is take it seriously, stay inside. Even if you survive, that's not a good way to look at this. It's a very painful sickness.
Yeah.
And we do not have a great treatment, let alone a cure.
Yeah, my advice especially goes out to young people, Generation Z, people on the late end of millennials, people my age, people in the similar, like SUNY Geneseo students, college students. You need to heed the social distancing and isolation guidelines. I understand that it's difficult. I understand that changing up the way that your week-to-week activities flow, it's jarring. It's not fun for anybody. But this isn't about any individual. This isn't about me. It's not about you. It's about us. It's about our communities and making sure that nobody is put into a life-threatening position if they don't have to be.
I noticed that a lot of young people now, younger than you even. I don't know what below Generation Z is, but
I'm
but
not sure.
I see a lot of teenagers that are gathering in parks,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to be that grumpy old man who drives by and says, "Go home," but they're out there.
Yeah, I'm not thrilled about that. I see it on social media. I see it on the TV, on the nightly news. There's even in this town of Geneseo, there's college students of SUNY Geneseo hosting parties and hanging out in larger groups and completely going against any guidelines from noted health officials, from state government. I mean, it's New York's on pause right now. You shouldn't be out acting like there's nothing going on. You owe it to your community and to the people around you to be responsible and stay inside.
So on a personal level, I got to ask you a few questions. You played rugby for 8 years.
I did. That's correct.
That's some rough stuff? I didn't play for 8 years. I played a few games here and there.
Very cool.
It's miserable. Why'd you stick with it for 8 years?
Yeah, so a lot of people call it elegant violence. That's a fun way to put it. I'll say that camaraderie and teamwork, team building, team spirit are the reasons that I've played rugby for as long as I have, and why I will continue to play rugby. It's 15 people on a team on the field at the same time, working towards the same goal against 15 people that are of the same mentality, just on the opposite end of the spectrum, trying to beat you. So
I like it. And you're an Eagle Scout, like me.
That's correct. Yeah,
What was your Eagle Scout project?
I got my Eagle in 2016, Troop 208, Fairport, New York. My Eagle project, we did a number of bulletin boards and other renovation projects at the Fairport Little League Baseball Park. It's a big communal gathering point for people all over the town and the county. I played baseball there for 9 years, ever since I was in grade school. And, I wanted to give back and brighten up and contribute to an area of the community that I got a lot of great memories out of, in order that generations after me could enjoy the same foundational experiences.
Yeah, I'm proud of my Eagle Scout work, too. I got to ask you a personal question, not too personal, can I?
It's fine. You're good.
What's with the stash? Because not only you have the stash, my member of my team, one of the employees of the campaign, Hunter. You know Hunter, right?
Yeah, Hunter's a great friend of mine.
Hunter is a great. He's a hard worker, and he has a stash like you. Is that a Geneseo thing, or is that a Generation Z thing?
So a lot of my friends and I have been growing out our quarantine stashes, just in solidarity with one another. And, the mustache thing, a lot of my rugby teammates and I have pretty much every season grown out mustaches. If you looked at me a year ago today, you'd see a handlebar mustache on my face. So
yeah, keep it going down. That'd be good. If I grow a beard or a mustache, no one can even tell because it comes in light. And everyone's like, "What is that?" So it's useless.
It's all in good fun, though.
Well, listen, young man, I'm glad that you're healthy and safe. I'm sure your parents are happy.
Yes, they are.
Listen, and I'm glad you came on to talk about it. Any final words of advice? And we might take some questions.
No final advice besides just stay at home, flatten the curve, do it for the people around you. That's all I've got. That's my closing message.
Yep. Treat yourself like you already have it, so you don't spread it to anybody else.
Definitely.
Torn, anybody got any questions for Justin?
Oh, yeah. It took days and days and plenty of hours. I finally was able to submit my forms and claim for unemployment insurance, but it was a nerve-wracking process. Yeah. Yeah, no, I tried, I think, 4 or 5 days in a row before finally I was able to get through on the website and fill out forms there. Very, very, very broken process as of right now. I've been following some of the daily pressers with Cuomo's staff, and I saw that they have increased their server capacity from 4 servers to 50 servers, and now they're going to be filing claims with labor from call centers to try to address the huge surge. But I mean, these unemployment numbers are really unlike anything I've seen before in my lifetime and most people ever. Yeah. It's extreme.
It's listen, it's going to be it's going to be ugly. We have to press our leadership now to act, because
Definitely.
I worry. I worry about the families in my community and your community and NY27 across the country, because this is not going to get fixed overnight.
No
And
way.
by the way, I got to give a shout out to Julie. I was watching. Julie's a big rugby player. Justin, you got any advice for Julie? I'm sorry to deviate, but I saw she's on here.
The low man wins.
Listen, I'll be honest. Julie is as tough as it gets. She could probably play on your team, Justin.
I believe it.
I just, yeah, I'm not up for it. Sorry, but I appreciate you doing it. The other thing I would say about the unemployment, it's not just the unemployment. We can't DMV. Everything's down.
Yep.
Like everything is down. It's troubling, and it's been down for a few weeks. What's it look like when we're down for 3 more weeks or 4 more weeks? It's
A lot of backlogging.
What's that?
I was just saying a lot of backlogging. It's all going to be a big rush once they bring servers back up too.
I mean, I think the other alternative, which is maybe when we level the curve, is we're going to have to all get used to wearing PPE all the time.
Yep.
Until we get to a vaccine, we can level the curve. Exactly. Well, not just masks. I mean, if I could get my hands on one of those shields, I'd wear the shield. I would. I mean, if I was going to the grocery store or something. Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to get my family sick more than anything else. Okay, if there's no more questions, thanks for everyone for listening. We're gonna keep trying to do this. Justin, you stay safe. All right.
You too.
How's your girlfriend?
She's holding up. We were both sick. Unfortunately, that's it. Kind of is going to lead me into a quick comment on another issue we're facing. That's just the testing. She's been living in a very small apartment. We've done our best to stay distance and clean the apartment, but she's unable to get tested, and she's living in a box basically with someone who has coronavirus. And under the very strict guidelines you need to meet in order to get tested, she doesn't meet those guidelines. And she now moving out of quarantine on Thursday. This Thursday is our last day of quarantine. She's going to be living in fear that she's going to get sick again because she'll never know if she has coronavirus right now.
Justin and everybody watching, I don't know what to say other than to say that if you're not upset by the way this has been handled, you just don't care. You're lying to yourself, because the fact that we still don't have tests when our president told us over a month ago that everybody had tests, it's a joke. It's a joke. And I mean,
even for me, I was able to get a test. I didn't find out I was positive for 10 days.
It's unacceptable.
It's insane.
And maybe even if we dodge a bullet and it's not the worst case scenario, there will be a future pandemic, and there will be an accounting for the way this was handled. And if the president and his supporters want to lie, go ahead and lie. But we all remember. So it's a job for Justin and me and Torrin and everybody watching. I have a quote that I saw that I put on my Facebook. I think it's pinned to the top. That comes from George Orwell. He said, "Every day you have to work at recognizing the truth." I'm paraphrasing it, but that's essentially the idea, that recognizing the truth and seeing what we actually see takes work. Because a lot of people are okay tricking themselves or convincing themselves they're seeing something else. And the president, you can't look at it objectively and not be horrified by what we see every single day. And I'm going to keep saying it.
Yep.
All right. Good night, brothers. You guys sleep well. Hope you feel better. I hope you're over it, Justin. I appreciate you coming on.
Thanks, Nate. Have a nice night.
All right. Be good. Take care, Torin.